All right, what's up, weirdos? Happy Wednesday. Sorry I'm a couple minutes late. I had the thought that maybe I could film a video right before I go live, and I was like, oh, stressful. But I did finish it, so that's exciting. I might even post it tonight. I don't know. I'm feeling a little wild. Yes. How was everyone's week? What is going on? For those of you that are on my Patreon, you already know this. Oh, actually, more you might actually know this. I did take my GRE yesterday, which is a big deal. If you don't know, it's basically it's like the SATs for grad school. I did well. I am proud of myself. It is over, and it was stressful to study for. And it's done now. So I'm excited about that. I feel so much better to just have a hot sec in my life, especially before October starts, to kind of get myself together. So that's what I'm going to be doing. That's what I am doing by filming that video just now. I also wanted to wear this sweater in my video because it's so cute, but it's 1,000 degrees in my house. But what's up with y'all? Let me see who's in the chat real quick. Let's see. We got Mark. We have Martin. We have Batman. What about Beats? What's going on? We have Larry. Let's see here. Bum, bum, bum. Oh, we got Shauna. We got the Trash Picture Show. What's up? We have Laura. Hi, Laura. What's going on? Let's see. Yes, you guys. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. And this is the movie, Coraline, that we're going to get to. That is what I was most thrilled about this month, for sure. Like, okay, I haven't seen Paranorman yet, so maybe I will love that more. But Coraline, for me, is like one of the only animated, made-for-kids, spooky movie that I think actually has some solid, like, horror elements in it that are genuinely scary, which I think is, like, I don't know, just very impressive. And when I rewatched it today, I was just so delighted by how much it held up, how good it is, and I was just really excited about it. So I'm glad you're all here to talk about it. I hope you have a nice beverage. Mine is wine. And also, happy fall. I think yesterday was the first official day of fall. It is officially spooky season, your season and mine. And I'm freaking thrilled. I'm thrilled. So before we hop into this week's movie, go ahead in the chat, tell me what you've been watching, what you've been enjoying. You could be watching movies, TV, reading books, anything like that is cool with me. I'll go ahead and tell you what I've been checking out. Let's see. Did I already tell you this? I can't remember now. It's hard to like keep all of my internet presence straight. But I think if I didn't tell you, I watched Married at First Sight. So that everyone was like super obsessed with that show, I think earlier on in quarantine, or maybe this was years ago. I don't remember. But I knew a lot of people were talking about it, and I never looked at it. And I watched the whole season, and it was actually so good. Like, it's basically about arranged marriages and, like, seeing if they work out, like, with these experts that, like, put couples together. And they have one season on Netflix. I think it's, like, season 9. And it's so crazy. It's, like, so crazy. And it's so sweet, though, because some people are just there, like, genuinely looking for love. One person was there just to be on TV, like, clearly. I won't spoil it for you if you haven't seen it, but that is my non-spooky movie watch that I've been watching recently. Of course, I've still been watching Law & Order, which is also not spooky. What else? Okay, so I did watch this movie called The Swerve, which just came to VOD yesterday, and I checked it out, and I actually really liked it. It's kind of more like a drama thriller, but it's really quite good. So that was fun. That's the one I just filmed a review for literally like 5 minutes ago. The main actress in the movie also is just like outstanding. So that's nice. What else? I tweeted about this last night, but I watched. So there was two VHS cassettes, part 1 and part 2 of this TV miniseries of Merlin. So I watched the first cassette last night. Loved it. So great. Actually, an actress. Let's see. I just lost her name. Oh, I just lost her name. Let me try to pull it up real quick. Merlin. Or actually, I can pull up. So it's the same actress from the Tim Burton Sleepy Hollow movie. Oh, Miranda Richardson. So she plays a scary lady also in this Merlin series, and she was so fun. And also Martin Short plays this like little gremlin creature, which is really fun. Let's see what you guys have been watching. Fifth Element. Labyrinth. Nice. Oh, Fade to Black. I want to watch that one. I kind of want to like review it too, even though that seems like silly. Maybe I'll do like a movie marathon for one of my 31 days of Halloween. But that's one I definitely want to check out. They just put it on Shudder, and I think it's from the 80s, right? But it looks really awesome, and everyone that's been watching it has been really loving it, so that's cool. Vampire Lovers. Which one is that one? Let me look. Vampire. Sounds familiar. The Vampire Lovers. If you dare, taste the deadly passion of the blood nymphs. Is it this one from 1970? Or is there another version? Let me know. This looks interesting. The Vampire Lovers. Let's see. Oh, Ratchet, I have not watched yet still. I just have not done it yet. I'm going to. There's a bunch actually on Netflix that I want to watch. I really want to watch that one, the one that Millie Bobby Brown is in, something Holmes. I can't remember what it's called. I want to watch that one. There's a bunch on Netflix right now that I actually want to check out. Host, yes. Let's see. Cryptic Chambers. Host is awesome. Loved it. Great freaking spooky movie. So proud. Let's see here. Oh, it's an underrated thriller from the 2000s. Okay, let me see. Vampire Lovers. I hope we're talking about the same one still. Okay, it didn't come up again. Okay, send me a link. Someone send me a link because I can't find it. So maybe I'm not sure. Maybe we're not on the same page because of the delay. Okay, no. Yes, the one from the 70s. Okay, great. Love. Okay, cool. Good job, guys. A very diverse group of movies watched this time. That's fun. Okay, cool. So, as you may have noticed, we were nearing the end of September, so we only have this week and next week left of animated spooky movies. Very exciting. So we have, next week we're doing Paranorman, and then once again, the October one is going to be Hammer horror films. Super excited about that. Also trying to decide, like, because Hammer's, like, done a lot, so it's going to be a little tricky to figure out how I want to do the voting for it. Because there's also some modern movies that were done by Hammer, but I don't really think I want to include those because I want to keep it, like, kind of old and spooky. But I'm not sure yet. Also, I'm trying to get some guests together to come on the live streams for October as well. So hopefully the people I ask say yes, and then we will have some guests on here, which will be really fun. And okay, cool. So Vampire Lovers is a Hammer film. Great. So I'll put that on the voting for sure. And I'm pretty sure, I'm kind of scared to announce this, because I don't think I'm going to change my mind. Let me just double check this is correct. Everybody just hold 1 second. Let's see, hold on. Hammer. I thought I wrote it down. Okay, then I'm not announcing it. Oh, or was it Brides of Dracula? Maybe that's what I was gonna do. Brides of Dracula. Let me make sure this is the one. Yeah, I think this is the one I was looking at doing first. But don't quote me on it. Don't quote me on it, but I think that's what I want to do. Okay. And then, of course, you guys will vote on the rest. We only have, I think we only have 4 meetings. This month we had 5 horror movie club meetings. Next month I think we have 4. So you'll get to vote on 3. Hello, Ben. What's up? Welcome, welcome. What's going on? Happy you're here. And yeah, okay, so I think that's all the news, really. So let's go ahead and get into Coraline. This was, okay, so one of the most fun things for me, especially on rewatches for Horror Movie Club, is seeing who does the voices, especially for these movies, because I've seen this movie a couple of times, maybe twice before this watch, but I had never looked up the cast, so I had never associated any person with the voices before. So we have, let's just start it off saying Dakota Fanning plays Coraline, and the mother, so Mel / other mother / Beldam, is played by Terry Hatcher. Sorry, I just said that weird. Terry Hatcher. And it was so funny because, like, once I heard her voice, I was like, oh my god. Like, once I, like, connected the name to the voice. But she is from, of course, Desperate Housewives, which I have watched all of and then rewatched the first, like, couple of seasons sometime during the quarantine just because I like that show. Oh my god. I was like, I'm gonna sneeze. I'm gonna sneeze again. Oh, so embarrassing sneezing on a live stream. You know, it's so funny. I was talking to someone about sneezing, like a new phobia of sneezing people have because of the pandemic. Like when you're out and you have your mask on, it's like you cannot sneeze. You cannot sneeze because everyone will look at you and they'll think you have coronavirus and it'll just be like, so you're just always like holding in sneezes, even if you have like allergies or something. Which I don't have allergies, so I don't know why I sneezed. And I sneezed twice. So embarrassing. So embarrassing. I love when it catches up and people are like just now like, bless you. Thank you. Thank you. You guys are very sweet. Anyways, Desperate Housewives. So that was very exciting for me. And now I do want to check out a couple of the other voices on here. Let's see, Jennifer Saunders and Dawn French play like the spooky old actress ladies. I don't really recognize them, but it does look like Jennifer Saunders is the voice of the fairy godmother in Shrek, so that's fun. And Dawn French, oh, I love that. She is actually the fat lady in the painting from Harry Potter. That's so sick. That's awesome. Literally, it's called the Fat Lady painting, so I'm not being rude. Just so we're clear. Let's see here. We have Keith David, who plays the cat. I actually really like the cat character a lot. And he seems to do a lot of voices, but he was also Childs in The Thing, so that's very cool. And he was also in They Live, which I've actually never seen. Let me know if you've seen They Live. That's a John Carpenter one, but I haven't seen it. I don't know why. Let's see. We have John Hodgman, who plays the father characters, and it looks like this is actually what he's most famous for, so that's cool too. That's cool. It's a good movie. And then the little best friend, Wibby, is played by Robert Bailey Jr. Let's see who you are. He was in The Happening and a small role in Bubble Boy. Great film if you haven't seen it. Good times, good times. And yeah, I think we could probably stop there on that. But pretty solid cast. Pretty solid cast. I also want to look at the writer-director because it's not a name I recognize. Because once again, I've never looked into this film really, besides having watched it a couple of times. So, but okay. So Henry Selick has directed some of all in the same kind of vein, like a lot of movies you'll probably recognize. So let's kind of go back to earlier in his career. The first thing you'll of course know is 1993, The Nightmare Before Christmas. I know it's wild to know that The Nightmare Before Christmas was not directed by Tim Burton, even though we just all assume it was. I always thought it was directed by Tim Burton. I had no idea it was directed by someone else. That really blew my mind when I found that out. And he also directed James and the Giant Peach, which is such a good, also like very spooky, weird kids movie that I haven't seen in, oh my god, like a long time. Like that's another one I would love to rewatch, or a really fun one. That would be a really fun one to get on VHS as well. But I really love that movie. The animation in that is so spooky and cool, and reminds me a little bit of Coraline, for sure. So something else, let's see here. I don't recognize a couple of these titles, but it does look like he worked on a TV series called Little Nightmares. So I am kind of curious what that was. There's not really a lot of information on it, so I don't know where that aired. There's only 2 episodes, I guess. So maybe it never aired, unclear. And then it looks like he's actually working on another animated spooky comedy called Wendell and Wild that's supposed to come out in 2021 and actually has Jordan Peele doing one of the characters. So that's very cool, something to look forward to. And it's so funny because like this guy, if you look up his IMDb, oh, there's actually a great picture of him and Tim Burton on here. Yeah, go to his IMDb. Henry Selick. But he kind of looks like someone that would be in one of his movies. Like he's kind of got these like big glasses. He looks very tall and skinny. He has like large features. Like I just feel like he kind of looks like someone that would be in one of his movies, which is kind of like strange and adorable. But yeah, that's him. That's him. Oh my god, Lauren, I tried to tell you. So Lauren texted me. I was actually filming, so sorry if I was late responding. She was like asking me for something to watch, and then she goes, "I'm gonna watch the new Child's Play," and I tried to tell you that it's not good. It's not even a Chucky movie. Like I know that's not what we're talking about tonight, but it's literally just a totally different scary doll movie using the Chucky iconography. Like it's honestly kind of annoying. Like there were things about it I liked. I already reviewed it, but there were things about it I liked, but it's not a Chucky movie. It's just not. So it's just like a creepy computer doll movie. It probably would have done better. I would have liked it better if they had just done a totally different doll, personally. Also, when is the Child's Play sci-fi show coming out? I feel like I just heard someone talking about it, but I don't know. Oh, we also have Spiky Mikey in here. Is he first time in the chat? Welcome. So glad you're here. We also have Laura here. Little Nightmares. Laura thought this was a game. Ooh. I don't know. I would play that game, whatever it is. Very exciting. Okay. Oh, also, I don't think Danny's here tonight. But they had put on Twitter something about Seed of Chucky, and I love Seed of Chucky, by the way. I think it's excellent. John Waters is in that one. Highly recommend. We have Emma from Spooky Astronauts. Isn't it super early for you? Oh my god, it's like, what is it, like 8, is it 8 a.m. in Australia? But I am so glad you're here. We also have Jade here in the chat. Welcome. But yes. Okay, so let's go back. We're back to Coraline. That was a little Child's Play tangent. But let's get going. So I haven't even gotten into the plot yet, but we have, first of all, a wonderful character of Coraline, who is this just kind of, she is the perfect character for any kind of like kid adventure movie. She is like fearless. She is excited to explore. She is lonely. She is looking for something. She has two very preoccupied parents. Kind of almost in the same way, coming back to Tim Burton and the style that he always kind of puts like adults in his movies. They're very selfish, and they always have strange proportions. Their bodies are always like a little strange. They don't understand young people. They're not interested in the lives of young people or about their wants or anything like that. And we kind of have this very negative view of the parents at the start of the movie. They just moved to this new apartment complex. They write about gardening. Like, what? Is that it? I guess that's a job. Good for them. But they don't actually seem to like to garden, so that's kind of strange. They're both very stressed out, over caffeinated, haven't slept enough. And when you start to really look at them, you start to realize that they're probably just like this because they're trying to like keep their family afloat. They're trying to keep Coraline, a roof over her head, food in her stomach. At some point they go shopping for school uniforms, so she's going to some sort of private school, and it's clear that like they, in some ways, that they're probably doing their best, but we're looking at the view through Coraline's eyes. And so from her perspective, they're constantly annoyed with her. They're annoyed by when she intrudes into their lives. No one wants to listen to her. She's also in a new town. She has no friends. She left her two best friends back where I think she says she's from Michigan or something. So she's totally isolated in this place. And it kind of reminds me of like Pan's Labyrinth, right? Where you have this character that's just kind of ripe for the picking for something spooky and supernatural to happen to them because they are exploring and they are alone and no one's really watching them. So it's like anything could happen. And this also, I mean, I don't know why my brain just went there. It also is kind of like every true crime story I've ever read. So thank God in this one it was just a supernatural experience. I've also been watching way too much Law and Order SVU. And there's just so many episodes where some like very wealthy private school kid ends up murdered or something. The parents are off in Aspen or something. like obviously this is very different. But like I feel like on Law and Order SVU they're just constantly saying like nobody was watching them. Nobody was checking in on them. And I think that's kind of how Coraline feels. I'm relating everything on my channel from now on to Law and Order SVU. Just to be clear. That's what's happening. Who wrote Ooh, Seed of Chucky? Low Carb Monster? Come on. When I scroll up in the chat for a hot second, I see it. I see you right there. Seed of Chucky is hilarious. It is so funny. Literally, that might be... Bride of Chucky's my favorite. Then probably like the original. And then maybe Seed of Chucky is like my third. I think it's great. I think it's really fun. What is this Little Nightmares game you're talking about? I'm so curious. Huh. I'll have to look that up later. But yes. Ooh, I love what Martin just said in the chat. I love how imperfect both Coraline and her parents are. They feel like real people. And that is true. There is something that is a little more realistic about this lifestyle versus... a lot of Tim Burton stories where the characters are so theatricalized and the whole world is theatricalized, whereas this one we have actually kind of a very simple, normal, everyday life going on where then extraordinary things happen to very, very ordinary people. And that's kind of a fun thing I hadn't really thought about. So thank you for saying that, Martin. Okay, so let's really get into it now. Alrighty then. So, as I already mentioned, Coraline was ripe for the picking for something crazy to happen to her. So, she is already at the very beginning of the movie. She's already interested in the supernatural. She uses something called a dowsing rod at the very beginning when she's out, like she's playing by herself out in the the yard or whatever, and she's trying to it's a type of divination, okay, to attempt to locate groundwater. So she's looking for this well that is supposedly on the property, and she like takes this stick, and you can look up what a dowsing rod is, but it basically looks like a giant wishbone. And I've seen like similar things used in paranormal TV shows where they have like the two sticks, and they're just like, I can demonstrate with two pencils, but they're like this, and like if they start to cross, they're like, oh my god, it's a ghost. And it's like, I don't know if it's a ghost. Lauren would say it's definitely not a ghost. I say maybe it's a ghost. We don't know. But so she's already clearly kind of interested in the supernatural, and this one on her first outing is also where she meets YB, or Wyborn, which is a wild name. Wyborn Lovett. Excellent name. Excellent. And she meets him and also this black cat that follows him around. And these two characters are going to become very important, particularly the black cat. And I also, it's so fun. I love the black cat in this movie. I love how, I think they call it a feral cat, where it's just kind of like too skinny. Its head's too big. It's like very creepy, but also like loving. And I'm someone that's a little bit terrified of cats. Though we have a lot of, like, Brooklyn is literally full of stray cats. Like, the other day, I walked down my block for, like, 10 minutes, and I saw 4 different stray cats. And I was like, is this an omen? Is this bad? Is something bad going to happen to me? Or do they all cancel each other out where it's very good luck? Unclear. I don't know. But anyways, Shauna also in the chat said, why born? Why were you born? And Coraline starts making fun of his name, saying, why were you born? Which is like so rude, but totally something a kid would say. And so these are the two kind of friends. You know, she's very annoyed by YB, but ultimately someone her age she gets to like interact with. And then the rest of the characters we have are the strange characters that live in the apartment building. So we have 2 retired burlesque actresses, and I already went over those actors, but the characters' names once again are Mrs. Spink and Mrs. Forcible. Is that actually their names? That's hilarious. And they kind of remind me of in Gilmore Girls, Miss Patty, and oh, I just forgot her name. I watched Gilmore Girls 1,000 times a day. How did I forget her name? Okay, somebody in the chat tell me. Miss Patty and Babette. Never mind. Nailed it. I knew it. I knew it was in this brain. I knew it was somewhere in there. I just had to find it. Pull out the file cabinet. Okay, so and then our last kind of strange character is this someone that the mom thinks is drunk all the time, but that's just kind of like strange, eccentric dude that also lives in an apartment by himself, and that's a Mr. Babinski. And he says he is training a circus of mice. So we have kind of all these like really strange, weird characters that all live in this apartment complex, or it's more, it looks like a bed and breakfast, honestly. But you know, this place, and yeah, so that's kind of our cast of characters. So one night, on a dark and spooky night, after, and this is probably, I guess, the most important catalyst for this plot, is that YB gives Coraline this doll that looks just like Coraline, is wearing her iconic yellow raincoat, iconic yellow boots, has the blue hair, but the only difference is, dun dun dun, dun, you guessed it, she has buttons for eyes. Yes. So just her in a doll version. Coraline at first, like, something else I love about Coraline is she calls out bullshit, right? She's like, this is weird. Why do you have this doll that looks like me? Something's wrong here. Like, is very vocal about the weird things that go on versus just kind of like floating through life. She's just very, like, she's very intense. And I do, now that I also know that's Dakota Fanning, I do like that as well. It's funny, like, Dakota Fanning is someone that I either love in something or hate in something. Like, there's no in between. I usually have, like, a very strong opinion about her. But one of my favorite movies Dakota Fanning is in is Runaways, where she, have you guys seen that movie? It's her and Kristen Stewart. Let me see if I can pull it up. Runaways. The Runaways, excuse me, from 2010. And both of these actresses, like, this is gonna sound rude, but they're both very vanilla actresses, right? They're very simple actors. They're very understated in their acting. And in this movie, Kristen Stewart plays Joan Jett, and Dakota Fanning plays Sherry Curry. And they were in this band called the Runaways back in the day. And it's kind of like about this band, which I think was Joan Jett's, oh, maybe it wasn't her first band, but it's before she became like Joan Jett, you know? But it's a really great movie, and I love both of them in it so much. I think it's kind of amazing. But once again, we are just really off track. Just off track. Oh, we have some shade in here. Let's see. Emma says, I like her, just not a fan of her sister, Ellie. The younger sister. Oh, poor younger sister. I haven't, like, seen her in a ton. I know she's in, is it like that Amazon show or something? I know she's done a couple of princessy roles. But yes, Runaways, highly recommend. Cherry Bomb is a great song. It's all excellent. Okay, let's try to come back to Coraline if we can. Who knows if we will. All right, so she has this doll. That's where I was. She has this doll, and the doll will disappear at times. It's creepy. It has Annabelle syndrome, where it will just be one place and then be somewhere else, but you never actually see the doll animate or come to life in any way. But we soon find out, or kind of later find out, that this doll is sort of watching Coraline and watching the house and watching how things go down in the human world. I guess I'll call it that right now. And one night, Coraline wakes up from this little mouse that seems to want her to follow it. And as someone that had a mouse problem in my apartment, I would never follow that mouse. I would scream if I saw that mouse in my room, but, you know, Coraline is more adventurous than I. And so she follows it, and she goes downstairs, and it goes into this tiny Alice in Wonderland size looking door and I think it's like in the living room. And she had found it earlier. Her mom had unlocked it for her with a key that, of course, had a button on the end. And when she had opened it earlier, there was just a brick wall behind it, like it had been, you know, bricked over when they had made the apartments, whatever. But of course, now that it's the middle of the night, things are more magical in the middle of the night. And so when she opens it again, she sees this like kind of magical tunnel that's purple and blue and shiny. And what is she going to do but go down it? And once again, like, I really get a lot of Pan's Labyrinth vibes here. If you guys remember when our little girl in that one goes to get the thing out of the toad. You know what I'm talking about? Where she, like, crawls into the tree trunk thing. Anyways, I just love Pan's Labyrinth. I've also never seen Neon Demon, for you guys in the chat right now. I know that, I think you guys did an episode of Does This Offend You on Neon Demon, and I haven't actually seen that. I don't know why. Honestly, I feel like I would like it. I know a lot of people do not like it, but I love aesthetic so much that I feel like I'd be into it. But I'll check it out. Oh, you guys are saying it's good. I don't know where I heard it was not good. I heard there was not a lot of substance, but maybe that was a rumor. Who knows? Who knows? Let's see. Oh my god. Okay, well, Laura, can you tell me where this was? Ellie portrayed Mary Shelley? And what? Ooh, would love to know. Very curious. Okay. So she goes down this tunnel. It takes me like an hour to get through a plot of a movie because my brain is like a reference fire and it just can't calm down. But, so she goes down this tunnel and she gets through the door and it seems to just come back into her house in the same spot. How is that possible, you say? But this house is much more colorful, more exciting, brighter. Of course, the apartment she came from before is like everything is very gray, very dingy, kind of falling apart and just with no life to it. Like everything feels dead. The garden is dead. The the boxes of the house are not unpacked yet from moving. Like, there's not a lot of homey vibes in there for sure. And when she gets to the other side, it's all bright colors and good smells, and everything feels exciting. And so she's walking around, kind of exploring and trying to figure out what's going on. And she sees her mom in the kitchen. But of course, her other mother turns around, and it is not her mother. It is, as I said, her other mother, which I think is such a basic way to say this. I think it's so funny that they just call these characters other mother and other father. And it works out to this great benefit later on. So she meets these characters. They're so kind to her. They feed her all of her favorite foods. It seems so exciting to be there. They're just like, in Coraline's eyes, they're like much better versions of her parents. They're what she wished her parents would be. The only difference is, once again, they have buttons for eyeballs, which is like so creepy and weird. Ooh, I would love to see a really good Coraline other mother cosplay. I bet you someone did it on TikTok or something. I'm going to look it up later because I feel like that would be such a sick cosplay. But yes, so and then when she comes, so after the first night there, she wakes up in her normal bed in her normal bedroom, goes back to her normal life, and starts to just miss this dream world. She tells her parents about it. They, of course, don't care, as per usual. And we have this payoff of, once again, what I was talking about with the titles of Other Mother and Other Father, where they're in she's in a store with her mom, and her mom will not buy her these like colorful gloves she wants. Her mom only wants to buy the necessities, and who knows why, like the family might be having money problems. Like, we don't really know the background of like why the parents are making the decisions they do make. But she keeps saying, put back the gloves, we're not getting the gloves. And at some point Coraline says like, you're not as good as my other mother, or something like that, to that effect. And it's so funny because that just kind of hits in a very human way, even though the mother has no idea about this like dream world being real in any way. Like, she thinks it's just like a silly made up thing, but the way she says other mother is just like kind of aggressive, and I feel like in a way that would really hurt a mom's feelings. And the mom does feel bad about not getting her the gloves, which we will, see towards the end of the movie. So the next time she goes there, and we have a sense that when she wakes up in her own bed, so I'm going back a second, that it all actually happened. When she wakes up in a real bed, of course it could be a dream, but the big difference is she went to bed with a big rash on her hand from touching poison oak in her dowsing rod, and her other mother put mud on it, and when she woke up, her hand was healed. So that is a cue to Coraline that maybe it did all really happen and it's true. And so she goes to bed the next night, and she's actually quite excited to go back to the other world. She likes it there. It's fun. And when she goes there, she gets to watch a huge mouse circus that Mr. Babinski has. She gets to watch a great show with the two Mrs. Spink and Mrs. Forcible. And it's this huge, big, theatrical, magical event. And it's fun. Oh, there's also some music in this movie, but none of it is, I guess, memorable enough for me to like really go into and discuss. This definitely is not a musical. It's not, it's not Nightmare Before Christmas. It's not, what's another one? It's not Corpse Bride. It doesn't have big, memorable musical numbers, and music is definitely an important part of this movie, I'll say. Okay. Whoops. I dropped something. Don't look. Okay. So, and then in the human world, we also get a little bit of information about the history of the house. So, Wybie ends up telling Coraline at some point that his grandmother, who raises him, that's something else I like about this movie. Sorry. Something else I like about this movie is the way they deal with family structures and stuff, and like the fact that like Wybie lives with his grandmother. Just, I don't know. I think it's kind of fun, but that's not really what we're talking about. Okay. So YB tells her that his grandmother's twin sister, when they were little girls, disappeared, and he thinks somewhere in the house. So his grandmother doesn't let him go in the pink apartment house thing. He's not allowed to go in there. She thinks bad things happen there, and she thinks her sister disappeared in that house. And so we sort of get the sense that what's happening to Coraline has happened before to other children, and they are being taken into this magical world. And at this point, we don't know what happens to them. Maybe they live happy, wonderful lives. Maybe their souls are sucked out. Unclear. And so I think it's that night, I'm pretty sure, that when she tries to go back into the other world, her real life mom has actually locked the door and hidden the key. And she's very, very upset about this, by the way. And she eventually does find the key, and she goes to the other world. And this is the first time she's gone there in the daytime, which I think is a big change. And when she gets there, they're not as prepared for her as they usually are, because typically, of course, she goes at nighttime. And so when she goes in the day, she sees the other mother is actually not there right now. And this is actually the time she goes to the cabaret show, but that's okay. And after the show, she goes to dinner with her other parents. Everything seems to be going great. And then other mother drops the big news. You can stay here forever. You can have a great time here. We'll eat all the turkey and mashed potatoes you want. It'll be magical. It'll be great. The only thing is you have to, and she slides her box, and inside the box is, of course, 2 buttons and a needle. And this is where it's so funny to me how it's like in these kids movies where things will get like casually really dark, right? Where the other mother's like, oh, it's not gonna hurt at all, and the father's like, oh, it'll hurt a lot. And it's just like, right, like the idea of someone sewing buttons over your eyes is like so horrifying and disgusting. But in this like spooky fun animated film, it's like kind of casual. Or the idea of like children disappearing is like very scary. It's just, I don't know, it's so interesting to me. It's like as a kid, I never really think about the darkness in these themes in these kids movies, and now that I'm rewatching them as an adult, I'm just like, oh, that's like kind of dark. Oh, something else I have to mention, because I could not believe it, is in that freaking vaudeville show with one of those vaudeville ladies is literally almost naked. Isn't that crazy? Like, she literally is wearing like 2 like sparkly clam things over her nipples and like some underwear, and she's like so naked. And literally, this is like so dumb, but I was watching, I was like, I'm gonna look up the rating of this movie because she was so naked. I couldn't believe it. And at that point, she was still like old lady form, so it's, you know, shall I say lumpy? She was a little lumpy. But I was like so shocked by like how naked they let a character be in an animated film. I've never seen a character so naked. I'd never seen it. It was crazy. Ooh, I like this too in here. So, let's see. Martin on here said, I like how ambiguous what the Beldam, who's the other mother, wants the kids for. Maybe she's lonely, maybe she's hungry, maybe she needs their souls to power her crazy world. Like, what does she need from them? And that is, yeah, because at first I really had this sense that the other mother is just very lonely. She wants a child of her own, and that's really how I kind of felt for her. And my internet went out. How dare you? Am I back? Here, and if everything's fine. What is going on? My internet. That's so funny. Travis today was complaining, saying the internet was being really bad recently. I don't know. Oh, that's a good comparison. Mark just said she's the animated Freddy Krueger. There definitely is some Freddy Krueger vibes in this that I hadn't noticed before, but she does have those, like, you know, metal claw hands, all that going on. A lot of spooky. Yeah, there are. She comes to you in your dreams. There's definitely some Freddy Krueger stuff in there. That's a really good comparison. I hadn't noticed that. I'm also just going to keep talking as though everything's fine, because I'm not actually sure if the stream is still fine yet. Because it keeps... I'm getting some conflicting information on my YouTube. But hopefully fine. What we find out about Beldam, now that we're talking about her now, so the other mother is revealed to be known as Beldam. And something that's revealed is that, of course, she has taken children previously, and what she uses is the doll. So the doll that she had that looked exactly like Coraline, every child had a doll that looked exactly like them. And we actually kind of get that at the beginning of the movie in the opening credits, which is actually, I didn't even mention it yet, but the opening credits of this movie are one of my favorite parts because I feel like it's so creepy, yes. Also surgical. It's very surgical, the way in which they are, the little claws are like making the doll. It's very scary. And it does also kind of give me vibes of like Edward Scissorhands or something like that. Like a similar feel on the opening sequence. Sorry, guys. Yeah, Martin is on glitch. I can't believe you guys are still here. So kind. Okay. So, at some point when she's back in the human world, she actually gets a present from the two sisters, or two actresses. I don't know if they're actually sisters. And it is this little stone, and she can look through it and she can find magical things with it. So she can find the children's eyes, the children that have been taken, their souls have been taken. What they need to be set free are their eyes, literally. And so she can use this, and when she comes back into the other world, it's almost starting to fall apart in there, because at this point Beldam really needs Coraline to stay there. She really needs her soul. And at this point, it starts to be clear that she needs the soul to keep up the facade of this world. Things start turning white into nothingness. And we need that. She needs that to stop. She's very upset. And so at this point, Beldam is also turning into her true form. So she's no longer looking like Coraline's other mom anymore. She's looking something much more grotesque and scary and large and more like a monster. And now that you said it, a little more like a Freddy Krueger. And so the only way that Coraline... and also when she goes back, she realizes her parents are gone. Sorry, I'm just like skipping around now. That glitch really threw me off. But at this point in the movie, she also has discovered that her parents are missing. And that is how much Beldam needs Coraline to come back. She's not only taking Coraline, she is getting rid of her parents. So Coraline has no choice but to stay in this weird world with her. And so she is really going out of her way to get Coraline's soul. And so Coraline decides, with the help of the cat, the very nice talking cat, that the only way to get everything to go back to normal is to make a bet, not a bet, but play a game with Beldam. Beldam is a flawed villain, as all are, and one of her flaws is that she loves a game. She can't help but say yes. She can't help but play. And so Coraline says, if I find all the children's eyes and I find where my parents are hiding, you have to let us all go, basically. And if I don't, Coraline says that Beldam can have her eyes. So that's a pretty strong gamble. And so from here, this is funny because it's sort of, this is where the movie starts to end multiple times, where you think the movie's over and then you kind of think the movie's ending and kind of think the movie's ending again, but it's okay. And so Coraline is now running through this now much darker and bleaker other world, trying to find these eyes. And I'm not going to go through too much more detail here because I've already gone through a lot, but she finds all the eyes she needs. also with the help of the cat. Thank you, cat. And she finally realizes where her parents are. They are actually trapped in a snow globe on the mantle. And so she kind of pulls this like big fast one, where she tricks Bedlam into opening the door again, because Bedlam at this point had locked it so no one can get out. So opening the door, she says, "So my parents are behind that door. If you open it, I'll prove it to you." So of course Bedlam's like, okay. And so she opens the door, and then Coraline distracts Bedlam by throwing the cat at her face, which is hilarious to me. That was like that. It's like Coraline makes a strong choice and she really goes for it. And then she breaks out her parents, and and she smashes it. And this is once again where the movie ends multiple times. But when she gets back to her world, her parents don't seem to know anything has happened. They don't really believe anything. They have no memory, even though they're covered in snow because they were in a snow globe. They have no idea what's going on. And then everything seems to be going fine until Coraline, of course, wakes up at night by the ghost children that are now free, so yay them. But they said that Bedlam will never stop looking for the key. So basically Coraline, to finally end this movie, has to get rid of the key that opens the door in the first place. So she decides she's going to go take it down the old well that we found at the beginning of the movie, okay? And sorry, I'm like, it's 8:57 and I didn't finish the plot yet. When she comes back, we kind of get this heartwarming moment of her and her parents kind of getting along again. You can see her parents, like her mom gives her a present of the gloves that she wanted earlier in the movie. Her parents have finally finished their big project at work, so they can now focus on Coraline more. They're hosting a garden party for all the neighbors that live there. YB brings his grandmother, Mrs. Lovett, and Coraline is going to tell her the story of her twin sister and how she has now been set free. And that is the movie. Oh, yeah. That's it. And so we do get a nice ending. And I also, even though we didn't need any more endings than we got, I kind of wish I could have seen the conversation a bit between Coraline and Mrs. Lovett to see Mrs. Lovett, because her whole life, since she was a little girl, she knew her sister was taken from her and never knew where or how, and she just knew it had something to do with the house. So I kind of wish we had gotten like a little peek into that story. But yeah, we got a soul-sucking mama in this movie, and she is very scary. But that is the plot. Okay, so this movie, of course, does not have kills. So I think we are going to, for our faves, let's today say our favorite character, because I think this one has such fun characters in this one. I just love how theatrical all of them are. So definitely say your favorite character, and let's see. And you can also say favorite moment. If there's a favorite moment of the movie, something that really like wowed you, anything like that is also totally cool. So my favorite character, I think probably Bedlam. And I'll tell you why. I like that we get to see this villain in multiple forms in this like animated movie. I think that's really fun. I like that she's a complicated villain where she is kind of like desperate to be a mother and willing to do anything to be a mother. And even though she's taking their souls, there is something still genuine in there about it, where it's like for her, it's like really important for her to have children. And so I think that is kind of, yeah, I think she is my favorite character. And I love that we kind of get to see her in two characters as playing the mama, having these very tiny little snippets of moments where you know she's evil, where she's like shutting up the button-eyed YB or the button-eyed father. She's like shutting them down. She's keeping the facade alive. She's very much like holding down the fort in all these ways that I think is, I don't know, it's pretty cool. She's a cool villain. I really like her. And now that you said that Freddy Krueger thing, I can't stop thinking about that. That's such an interesting way to look at that character. Let's see. Okay, so that man said Coraline is a protagonist. Yes, she is totally one. She is just like as you said, an emotionally developed character. You understand what she's doing. You understand why she's doing things. She is strong. She is funny. She is great. Absolutely. Shauna also says the other mother, love. Jade agrees. Let's see. Martin said favorite supporting character is the cat or Babinski. Babinski is funny. He's like a wild character. Ooh, Shauna said favorite scene is chasing Coraline in the web. Yes, that's the other great thing about Beldam is we kind of get this representation of her as a spider, which I'm sorry I wouldn't even talk about. But she, throughout her transformation, becomes more and more spider-like until eventually, like, we have a little chase scene of her chasing Coraline in a spider's web. And there's definitely something very cool about that imagery. Let's see, Coraline and the cats. Yeah, the cat is great. The cat is fun. Yeah, there's something about, I guess it's like the Black Widow thing, like something about that imagery in our brains where it's like scary women a lot of times can be like associated with spiders. I would definitely be interested to like look more into that. Okay, so let's go ahead, of course, to our classic IMDb trivia page. Okay, so this once again is like stop motion, right? So we have 20. This is always the info I find fun. 24 different puppets of Coraline used, and I want to know who has those now. That's so cool. There was 130 sets built across 52 different stages, and it spanned 183,000 square feet. That's a lot. That's big. This is another one that I'm going to recommend to you guys. I think we did this last week with Corpse Bride. But just going over to Google Images and searching Coraline behind the scenes. And getting sort of a sense of how big the sets are. Like, they're not tiny. They're not like these little tiny things. Like, all of the characters, everything, they're actually just much... They just are so much larger than I would expect them to be. One of the first images that comes up is of the pink apartment house. And it is gorgeous. It looks like just like this perfect giant dollhouse. Ooh, I like love it. I want to own it. But if you scroll down on there, you get a lot of imagery. There's also one on here of the spider web itself that the chase scene happens in. That one that has like a person next to it, so you can see size comparison. Yeah, there's some good stuff on here. Highly recommend. Batman, I will tell you, no one is as spoopy as me. I will say. All right. Let's see what else they got on here. Oh, interesting. Initially, when they decided to This is interesting. The first stop-motion animated feature to be shot entirely in 3D. Did this movie come out in theaters in 3D? Did anyone see this one in theaters? I do not think I did. I'm not super sure. No way. Okay, so Laura just said, actually 2 weeks ago I went to an expo on the making of The Corpse Bride. That's so cool. Where was that? I don't know what area you're from, but that's freaking awesome. That's so cool. But I definitely, I agree with Martin in here. A live action Coraline would probably still be terrifying. And I wonder if they did it stop motion because it would be too scary as a live action. That, I don't know. Something to think about. Something to think about. Okay. I'm scrolling through trying to see if there's anything else. This is interesting. The band, They Might Be Giants, wrote 10 songs for this movie, but they only ended up using 2 of them. I do know that band. I have not listened to that band. Probably in a long time. But that's crazy. They wrote 10 songs for the movie. Using Coraline's stuffed squid. I do remember that moment. And I did, like, kind of think of Alien, but, like, I love that someone actually... Yeah, I mean, there's some long ones, but I don't want to take the time to read them all the way through here. Yeah. There's a bunch more on here if you guys want to go in. But it's kind of, I mean, there are a lot of, like, really small facts that aren't really blowing my mind. So, this is the first film that Henry Selick directed that he also wrote. It's kind of fun. He did a great job. All right. Okay, I'm going to stop looking there. Making up a song about Coraline. That moment. That's They Might Be Giants song. That's so crazy. I need to listen to the soundtrack because I never really think about the soundtrack when I was watching the movie. I should try to listen to it. That's one of my favorite things about Spotify is you can type in almost any movie and just listen to a playlist of all the songs in that movie. Highly recommend. This is like a random one, but one of my favorite soundtracks is Practical Magic because it's just a movie I've seen 1,000 times. But even just listening to like the Spotify playlist of the songs featured in that movie, it's just like it's on low battery. That's how we know we did a good job here. Definitely go look at this behind the scene pictures. Go watch The Runaways. And make sure you watch Paranorman. That'll be our last one for the month. And I'm excited because I actually don't think I've seen it, as I said. So I'm pretty stoked about it. But thank you all for being here. I'm not sure if I might put this video out tonight or I might put it out tomorrow. I should probably just put it out tomorrow. I should probably just go to sleep. But thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Thank you for being a part of Horror Movie Club. It's one of my favorite parts of the week, and you guys are so awesome. So, I think that's it, people. I will see you in my next video, and